It's First Respondent Military Appreciation Day live right here from the Muzzy Field at Bristol, Connecticut. Hi, everybody. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call between the Bristol Blues and the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. We apologize a little bit for the delay. There was a interesting happening between the home plate umpires, but we at least have one of them, not two. We do have one, and we're about to set and begin right here from Muzzy Field.
A little miscommunication between the umpiring officials and the rest of the league. But after the hour-long delay, we're here at Muzzy Field ready to go. Bristol Blues, Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and really what is, Chris, a big-time matchup. Martha's Vineyard pretty much been the leader in the FCBL, wire to wire, this entire summer. Bristol been bouncing back and forth between that 2 and 3 position in the league. And on the mound, it's Michael DeLeese looking to give his team the edge. But, Chris, you said it was Military and First Responders Appreciation Day, and there was a U.S. Army Black Hawk chopper that came in. So a lot of pomp and circumstance, and then the hour-long delay, and looked like the weather seemed to turn a little bit. So all that snowballs into a big distraction for these players, both for Martha's Vineyard and Bristol. So we'll see how they respond coming out after an hour delay and what amounts to a very important matchup today.
And DeLeese is ready. Chamberlain's ready. Let's do it here from Muzzy Field. First pitch, strike, outside corner at exactly 5:14 here in Bristol, Connecticut. Chamberlain, 280 average, 24 RBIs. Has 26 walks and 12 strikeouts on the season. 1-1 count on the leadoff batter. We'll give the defense for Bristol left, center, right. Sullivan in left, Leparco in center. Stevens in right. 1-1 coming to Chamberlain. Slider in the dirt, 2-1 in the infield. Reynolds is at first. At second is Andrew Haig. At short, Ian Osberg. At third, Richard Brereton behind the plate. Patrick Winkle on the mound. As you heard AJ said, Michael DeLeese. 2-1. Chamberlain just fouls it back, 2-2.
I'll give you the lineup for Martha's Vineyard right now. You see Matt Chamberlain, the center fielder. After him, it'll be Tyler Winsig and Matt Oldham, followed by Kellen Hathaway, Jackson Rapper, Nick Raposo, Luke Hartman, Tate Colwick, and rounding things out, Colin Shapiro.
2-2 coming. Slider slicing to the left side. Sullivan's going to give chase, and that's just going to drop in for a base hit, and the Sharks get their first hit here on the top of the first.
A long run there for Sullivan. Chamberlain, a left-handed hitter. So Sullivan was shaded a little bit towards the gap. And that one, just a bloop, dropped right down the left field line. Sullivan giving chase, as you said, Chris, but unable to get there. So he's aboard with a leadoff base hit.
That's going to bring up number 23, the first baseman, Tyler Winsig, 310 average with 9 walks, 11 strikeouts. He goes to Bucknell. Fastball low, 1-0, and Matt Chamberlain, who was the leadoff batter, goes to the University of New Haven, was one of the players selected for the All-Star game for the Futures Collegiate League. DeLeese coming to the set, pauses for a couple seconds, fires in a fastball, but it's fouled back, 1-1.
Chamberlain with 20 stolen bases. That's tops in the FCBL. And you see Michael DeLeese, right hand, a little bit long to the plate. So you would expect Chamberlain to be here be in motion here. Martha's Vineyard, one of the most aggressive teams when it comes to stealing bases in the league.
1-1 coming. Fastball, Winkle throws back to first, and he's going to be out. What a throw by Patrick Winkle. Catching Chamberlain, at least taking a couple steps trying to get that advantage, but Winkle showing off that impressive arm.
What a shoot there from Winkle. And we talked about Chamberlain, a threat, and you could see he kind of bluffed the steal on that pitch, a little bit slow and getting back to the base. And Patrick Winkle getting the start today, going to be a freshman at UConn, but wisdom beyond his years as he threw a missile. It was a bang-bang play down at first base, and with only one umpire on the field, you're putting the umpire putting him in a position to make a bang-bang call, and it looked like the throw and tag beat him. Chamberlain did not agree with the call, but close enough. So a big first out there to get Chamberlain off the bases.
Strike 3. DeLeese gets Winsig down via the K. 2 down here in the top of the first. And I think that pickoff by Winkle kind of helping out his pitcher got him to settle down a tad.
It's a little plays like that can sometimes change the momentum, and I know it's early on in the game, but you look at a guy like Chamberlain who's aggressive on the base pass, no outs, a threat to steal, and you can look at a little bit of a rally there from Martha's Vineyard, but just like that, 2 away, nobody on, and DeLisi's got to be feeling pretty good.
He fires in a fastball outside corner, 0-1, DH number 40, Matt Oldham, 286 average with 14 RBIs, goes to Elon University, and he ties as that ball was hit foul up the first baseline, giving chase was Reynolds. He is tied with his teammate who's on deck, Hathaway, in home runs.
5 dingers for Oldham, and he's on a bit of a tear lately. 7 RBIs in his last 4 games, so good work from DeLisi there to clear the bases, because if you bring this guy to the plate with a couple guys on, he's always a threat to plate some runs for Martha's Vineyard. But DeLisi quickly ahead, 0-2 in the count. A lot of options for the righty.
1-2 to the left-handed batter. Slider in on the hands. Going back is Stevens and Laparco. Still back is Laparco at the track. And he makes the catch for the third and final out. A leadoff single by Matt Chamberlain. Later picked off by Winkle. And then Laparco getting the third and final out helped his pitcher, Michael DeLisi, with a 1-2-3 inning. We're heading to the bottom of the first. Your Bristol Blues will be up to bat. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the first, the Sharks were held scoreless in the top of the first as Michael DeLisi was able to get a 1-2-3 inning with the help of his catcher, Patrick Winkle, picking off Matt Chamberlain, which he doesn't get picked off too much, only his 5th of the season. And now the Blues will be having a couple batters come up to see if maybe they can try to get ahead in a game that was supposed to start at 4 o'clock, but because of the home plate umpires getting a little miscommunication with the time, but we do have one now.
Leading off, as per usual, Ian Osberg, the shortstop, followed by Alex Laparco and Dylan Reynolds. And in the 4-hole, catcher Patrick Winkle, Rich Brereton, Teddy Haig, Peyton Stevens, Jimmy Sullivan.
And Osberg first pitch swinging into right field. And as just like in the last game, does not waste any time. He sees a pitch he likes, and he attacks. Now bring up Alex Laparco at 268 average, 15 RBIs. Currently on a 4-game hit streak. First pitch to Laparco, called a strike.
And on the mound today for Martha's Vineyard, an FCBL All-Star selection, Brian Ketchy, the lefty. He has been fantastic throughout the first half of the season.
Well, one fastball high.
Ketchy 4-0 with a 2.34 ERA, 38 and a third inning pitch, just 38 hits and 34 strikeouts.
Ketchy comes to the set, throws back to first. Just trying to be able to keep Osberg honest. In the outfield for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, Shapiro in left, Chamberlain in center, Hartman in right. In the infield, Wincig at first, Kolick at second. At shores, Hathaway at third. Rapper behind the plate, Raposo. And on the mound, as you heard AJ say, Ketchy. 1-1 is driven into right center. Going back is Chamberlain. And just like as we've seen all season from the center fielder, the amount of range that he has to be able to go back both to his glove and to his arm side as he makes the catch for the first out.
Off the end of the bat there from Laparco. Just got under that one. And like you said, if anything's hanging up there in the center field or in the gaps, Matt Chamberlain, he has the wheels and the athleticism to run out there and get it.
Be a left-on-left matchup right now. But before that, we're going to throw back to first. As Dylan Reynolds, number 35, playing first base, currently at the plate for the Bristol Blues. .319 average, 24 walks to 1 strikeout. That only strikeout came against these Martha's Vineyard Sharks back on June 13th. Slider in the dirt, 1-0.
Interesting matchup here. Reynolds, great eye at the plate. Takes tons of walks. Only 1 strikeout on the season, as you mentioned, Chris. He takes strike 1, but on the other side, Ketchy, in 38.1 innings pitched this season, only 4 walks. So impeccable control from the lefty. So this should be an interesting matchup all night long.
Ketchy taking his time, staring down the runner. Osberg at first, delivers the 1-1 slider outside. You saw Reynolds kind of stick his right hand out, telling Osberg, don't go, because the ball wasn't far away enough from the catcher.
It's great plate discipline there from Reynolds. Tough lefty-on-lefty matchup, and that slider looks enticing, but able to lay off there.
2-1, throw back to first. Just gets back as Osberg. You can kind of hear a little bit from the Sharks saying, yeah, he was picked off.
Osberg leaning a little bit, and always dangerous when you have a lefty on the mound, and we can see Ketchy. Pretty solid move, and after a pickoff in the first inning, you would think these Bristol base runners would be on high alert.
2-1 to the right side, just going to go foul. Saw the first baseman, Winsick, try to be able to get that while it was in foul territory before it started to enter the fair side.
A lot of pressure on this home plate umpire, the only umpire out there right now. So a lot of bang-bang plays out there already. I mean, the couple pickoff throws. So if you're forcing the issue, could go 50-50. You never know. Tough calls out there for the Blue.
2-2 cued, liner right back to Hathaway. And Winsick doing the best he can to keep that ball from getting away towards the foul territory in right field, keeping Osberg on at first base. Reynolds put on a good piece, but he's the second out.
Yeah, good approach there from Reynolds, and you got to be pleased with that at bat. I mean, you saw a lot of pitches, and you were able to lay off the off-speed stuff from Ketchy. And if you're a lefty, you going against a left-handed pitcher, you always want to keep that front shoulder in. You don't want to pull out and try to pull everything. And Reynolds did just that right there. Took it the other way, a little bit unlucky, hitting it right at the shortstop, Hathaway.
And Winkle swings at the first pitch just like Osberg, and he's rewarded with a single. Osberg's going to round second and get to third with ease. Runners on the corners. Second hit of the evening for the Bristol Blues. And that's going to bring Richard Brereton to the plate. And as we've seen a lot this year from the Bristol Blues, going first to third, Ronnie Palmer, when he came into the season, the one thing he wanted was speed, and he has that in the top of the lineup.
A couple good swings so far from this Bristol offense, especially coming against in lefty-lefty situations. I mean, Osberg leading off, he's a lefty with a base hit. Dylan Reynolds with a sharp line out. And then Pat Winkle right there, a base hit from another lefty. So the left-handed hitters in this Bristol lineup doing their job, not getting over anxious and trying to pull the ball. You see Winkle's hit right there, not hit the hardest, but able to find some green. So they're doing a good job right now, putting Rich Brereton in a position to give this Bristol team an early lead.
Oh, one coming to Brereton. He drives that into center field, but Chamberlain coming in hard and makes the catch for the third and final out. So a couple nice pieces coming off the bat of both Reynolds and Brereton. Not successful, though, as the Blue strand runners on both first and third. Running to the top of the second. 0-0's your score. Chris Arns and A.J. Fabry on the call between the Bristol Blues and the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Today, military responders, first responders appreciation day here at Muzzy Field. Blues had runners on first and third. Osberg at third. Winkle on at first. Both swung at the first pitches, but a hard liner, rather, from Brereton with Chamberlain coming in, the center fielder for the Sharks, ended any sort of threat that the Blues were going to have against this Sharks team. Martha's Vineyard comes in at 27 and 13, first in FCBL. The Bristol Blues 24 and 17, third place. DeLeese back on the mound for his second inning of work. First pitch fouled back.
Give you the numbers on DeLeese so far this season. 0-1 with a 4.05 ERA for the 6'2" righty out of Central Connecticut State.
0-1 coming. That's going to hit Hathaway, and he's going to get on the first base. Hathaway, the shortstop from Williams College, tied with his teammate Oldham with 5 home runs. And he also has 6 stolen bases, so definitely a player that DeLeese is going to have to watch.
DeLeese making his third start of the season. For this, went 13.1 innings pitched, 16 hits, 6 strikeouts, and just 7 walks.
First pitch fastball outside, 1-0 to the third baseman, Jackson Rapper, 291 average, 16 runs scored, 2 home runs, 34 strikeouts. Goes to Catawba College. 1-0. That's going to have a chance to drop in. Diving play by Sullivan is it's going to be a trap. The throw to third is going to be safe. As you saw, Hathaway gets there with ease. And then Rapper going in on the throw, being able to take that extra base because Sullivan trapped the ball, made the attempt to throw it to third. And now the Sharks have runners on second and third with nobody out.
Bit of a weird-looking play there. Sinking line drive, Sullivan giving chase, but clearly trapped that one. You saw the white ball hit the grass, and then Sullivan come up with it. I don't know if he was trying to sell the fact that he caught it, but he was a little slow in reacting, and that allowed Hathaway to motor on a third. It could have been a play there, but Sullivan unable to get the ball in on time, and just like that, it's second and third now with nobody out, and Martha's Vineyard threatening here.
And just as the Blues had runners on the corners on first and third, the Sharks returned the favor second and third, but with nobody out. Both teams with 2 hits apiece, with the catcher Raposo up. 235, liner up the third baseline, fared, and that's going to get to the wall and score 2. Raposo's going to round first, get to second. Sullivan losing a little bit of the grip. Raposo's going to try to get the third, and he's going to be safe. A 2 RBI triple from the catcher, and the Sharks are up 2-0.
Well, Sullivan certainly getting a workout in early as Raposo there. Just taking a pitch out over the plate and lining it over Brereton's head, and that traveled all the way down the third base side into the Blues bullpen area. And Sullivan, again, struggling to maintain a grip of that ball, and that allowed Raposo to go from second to third. It was definitely a double, but Sullivan unable to get the ball in quickly, and now the troubles continue here for DeLeese. Nobody out.
First pitch fastball outside to the right fielder, the 7-batter, number 4, Luke Hartman. 226 average, 17 walks to 12 strikeouts. He goes to Bucknell College. Fastball inside, nips it, 1-1. DeLeese trying to be able to keep the Sharks at 2. I have to admit, though, AJ, he's still attacking the strike zone. He's not trying to fiddle around and try to get these Sharks batters to chase. He's attacking right and coming right after them.
Pounding the zone, but the Sharks with an aggressive approach at the play, and it's hasn't really worked out for DeLeese so far. And looking back at DeLeese's last start, came back on July 12th, and it was a good one. 6 innings pitched, just 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. That was a win for Bristol over Pittsfield, but no decision for DeLeese. So looking to add on to that performance, but so far hitting a bit of a rough patch here in the top of the second.
Kolick on deck, Shapiro in the hole. 3-2 taken into left. Sullivan's going to make the catch. The catcher's going to attempt to get into home, and he's going to get in without even any sort of attempt to be able to try to tag him, as Raposo tagged third and got in. 3-0. Sharks are up.
Good situational hitting there from Hartman. Getting the ball elevated, and again, a lot of putouts and a lot of balls hit the left field. So Jimmy Sullivan, the youngster, really getting his work in today.
Will go down as a sac fly for Hartman. And with one out, pitch in the dirt, 1-1. Second baseman, Tate Kolick, 264 average, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs. He'll be going to Vanderbilt in the fall. One cued off the foot of DeLeese. And there's not going to be a play at first, as it was hit off of DeLeese and then towards the shortstop position as Osberg was going behind the bag thinking there might be a play. And because of that, the misfortunes for the Blues continue. Down 3-0, have already surrendered 4 hits. Now Kolick's on at first.
Some misfortune there for DeLeese, trying to get his glove down there quickly, but the ball was just hit too hard and looked like it kicked off the back heel. So Kolick aboard with a base hit. Still just 1 out here, but the way DeLeese is pitching right now, if you can stay low in the zone, I mean, this Martha's Vineyard team is a free-swinging team. Stay low in the zone, induce a ground ball, possibly get a double play to get out of this one.
Back to DeLeese. Didn't have a good grip, so he decided to go to first instead of second base. And the old adage is if you don't have a play, if you don't have a grip, instead of attempting it, take your time and get the out, the easiest out. So at least they get 1 with 2 down. The runners advance. Kolick to second base. We're back up to the top with Chamberlain.
Well, you said it, Chris. It must have been a bad grip there for DeLeese because he had a good long look at Kolick, and he wasn't even halfway when he picked up that ball. So, again, making the safe play, but making life harder for DeLeese himself is now he's going to have to go up against the top of the Martha's Vineyard order with a man in scoring position, 2 outs.
And Chamberlain in his first at-bat singled and was later picked off by Winkle. And he drives that ball into center field. Leparco goes back, takes a couple steps into the shadows, and is able to make the catch for the third and final out. But the Sharks get 3 on 4 hits, or rather 3 hits, pardon me. Bristol Blues are going to have to try to answer back here in the bottom of the second, right here from historic Muzzy Field. AJ, a hit by pitch or a walk, it always seems like it comes back to bite the Blues in one fashion or another, and it did right there because Hathaway was hit by DeLeese, then Rapper got on, and then you saw the triple by the catcher Raposo, and then a sac fly by Hartman that scored. Raposo from third. Sharks are up 3-0 with Teddy Haig at the plate. Stevens, Sullivan, if any of them get on, his brother Andrew Haig, the 9-batter. First pitch to Teddy Haig to the right side. Kolick fields it, tosses over to first, 1 down here in the bottom of the second.
Chris, another first pitch swinging there for Bristol, and we talked about that last game against North Shore. Very aggressive at the plate this Bristol team was, so I think maybe that's just been a mantra throughout this second half. Ronnie Palmer telling his kids, hey, go out there, swing, let's get aggressive. don't look for the perfect pitch. If anything is close, go out there and chase it. And it worked in that North Shore game, but right now, a little ground out from Teddy Haig, nobody out. But for a guy like Ketchy, that's a dangerous game there, because if he catches fire and he starts rolling, you're really going to have to take your time and try to force his pitch count to get up there and get into this bullpen, because a guy as dominant as Ketchy is, once he gets rolling, it's like a snowball, and you can't really stop it.
And Stevens with a 1-1 count, 13 RBIs, 34 strikeouts on the season. 1-1 to the right-handed batter inside, 2-1. And this Bristol team has shown the ability to come back. If you remember against the North Shore Navigators, they came back twice. So they do have that in them. As Peyton Stevens drives that into left, a liner will right to Shapiro, 2 down.
Yeah, and that was a huge game for Bristol. You always want to start off the second half of any season on the right foot, and a lot of fight. And that was a fun game. We were here calling that one, and that was a really high-energy game. And all 6 runs scored in that game for Bristol, Chris. All of those came with 2 outs. So a never-say-die mentality for this Bristol team. And with only 14 games left in the regular season, they're going to have to play with that mentality to get into playoffs.
And Sullivan takes a piece of that into right field, gives it a drive, but Hartman's able to field it for the third and final out. And we've seen now in the first inning and the second inning, Osberg, Winkle, Reynolds, Brereton, even the likes of Stevens as well. They're getting decent pieces off of Ketchy, but they're not being rewarded.
You got to think later in the game as Ketchy wears down, those balls will start dropping. But like you said, Chris, good contact so far. But you can't get frustrated if you're Bristol. At some point, those hits are going to come back around and those balls are going to drop. But again, a good start for this Bristol offense. But at some point, you're going to have to turn those good pieces into base runners and eventually runs, because they're already in a 3-0 hole.
And they have to keep the Sharks at least 3 runs because, yes, the Blues have shown the ability to come back. But against a team like the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, which – I mean, to be honest with you, they do have a better pitching staff than North Shore, and actually they have a better pitching staff than most of the league if you consider they're 5th in earned runs allowed, they're 6th in walks, 6th in wild pitches, 4th in strikeouts. The only thing that's really hurt them per se is that they're 2nd in the FCBL in hits allowed. But the fact that it really hasn't come back to bite them enough, so they're really going to have to kind of, in a sense, earn their way to get those runs back.
I think if you're Bristol, you can't really rely on the 2-out hits. You're going to have to start rallies with leadoff guys, less than 2 outs, use some productive outs. And if you can scratch across 1 or 2 an inning and keep pace with this Martha's Vineyard offense. And just an interesting stat I was looking at before today's game, Martha's Vineyard with a 3.98 team ERA, which is very good. It's actually second best in the FCBL. But something interesting that kind of contradicts that number is that they have a 263 batting average against. So definitely some opportunity for Bristol if they want to come back into this game. I mean, we've seen they've put some good swings on Ketchy's pitches. So if they just keep on grinding right now, they can definitely get back into this one. Still a lot of baseball to be played.
Tyler Winsig, Oldham, and Hathaway, if any of them get on, Jackson Rapper. In the last at-bat for Winsig, he struck out back in the first. 0-1 slider drops it in quickly, 0-2. And Winsig's going to have to be on the defensive. 0-2 coming from DeLeese. To the left side, Osberg fields it, sets, fires over the first. A little bit stretch play from Reynolds, and they get the out.
Nice job there from DeLeese. Very uniform right there. Pitching philosophy: get ahead and then make the batter chase. Don't get yourself into too much of a bind. Don't overthink things. Throw the pitches where it's really not in the sweet spot of the strike zone, and that's exactly what happened there with Winsig and an easy ground ball fielded by Osberg.
Matt Oldham, who flew out to center back in the first inning to end that half, looks at a first pitch strike, 0-1, and the reason why the Blues are wearing their military-esque jerseys is because it's Military First Responders Appreciation Day here at Muzzy Field.
Lots of military personnel veterans in the building. We had a nice recognition of all the veterans before today's game.
Slider to the right side, just foul.
And even a U.S. Army a Black Hawk chopper that we talked about was flown in, landed in center field before the game. Fans were able to come out, check that out. So very cool experience for everyone involved here at Muzzy Field today, and really an awesome showing.
Without those people, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today. Being able to fight for us as well as the country. 1-2 fastball high, 2-2. And even the first responders as well. And just, it's nice that being able to recognize the people who typically do not get recognized. 2-2 low. Third full count of the day for Michael DeLeese. Came in with a 0-1 record, a 4.05 ERA. This is his third start of the season. 13 and 1/3 innings pitched, 6 Ks to 7 walks. And that 3-2 is going to be driven up to center for a base hit, the Sharks' 5th hit of the day. And it's only the top of the third and came off the bat of Matt Oldham.
And DeLeese right now, you said, Chris, 5 hits already. Stuff looking a little bit flat, and this Martha's Vineyard offense able to jump on some fastballs that have been left out over the plate. And right there, Oldham jumping on a fastball, 3-2 pitch. He was sitting fastball dead red, got what he wanted, just took it right up the middle. So DeLeese going to have to make an adjustment here, maybe go to his secondary stuff, maybe a curveball changeup to start things off, start pitching backwards, because it looks like his fastball just doesn't have the normal life it does, and I think Martha's Vineyard's taking full advantage.
1-0 coming to Hathaway. He takes a big cup of misses, 1-1. Hathaway was hit by a pitch, and that's what started this 3-run inning back in the top of the second that came off the bat of Nick Raposo. His 2 RBI triple gave 2 runs, and then a sac fly by Hartman, the 7 batter for the Sharks. Is how we got to a 3-0 score thus far. 1-1 fastball outside, nips it, 1-2. On deck is Jackson Rapper. In the hole is the man who gave the 2 RBI triple, the catcher, Nick Raposo. And he moved pretty quick for a catcher, I'm not going to lie to you.
Good wheels out on the bases, and that's pretty much the standard throughout this Martha's Vineyard lineup.
1-2, easy ground ball towards Brereton. They try to turn 2, and it gets off the glove of Andrew Hagan to shallow right field. Hathaway's going to stay on at first, but because of the errant throw, Oldham is going to get to third base, and that's going to go down as an error, and Brereton just kind of threw that a little bit offline for Andrew Haig to be able to get enough of the glove onto the ball and tag second.
Now it'll be interesting to see who that error is registered to there, because it looked like a very catchable ball from Haig, and I think he just took his eye off of it at the very last second, and you have to complete that play, and Brereton really delivered a strike to Haig. Just looked like he was coming off the bag and just took his eye off it, and now another predicament here for Bristol.
First pitch to Jackson Rapper outside, 1-0. He was also one of these selections from the Martha's Vineyard Sharks in the FCBL All-Star game. On deck is Nick Raposo. In the hole, Luke Hartman. Rapper at .291 average, 2 home runs on the season. Fastball inside, 1-1. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Sharks. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 error for the Blues. Runners on the corners with 1 down. Left-handed hitter, Rapper at the plate. Runner was going on contact. And that's just going to drop in front of Peyton Stevens. He throws into second base and gets the force out. But the runner does score. Oldham will advance from third to home plate, give the Martha's Vineyard Sharks their 4th run of the day. But what you saw right there was Hathaway was retreating and going back to first, thinking that ball was going to be catchable. But the Blues get that second out.
Yeah, tough situation there for the base runner. Run comes across the score, but got to be a little bummed out there for Rapper, because that takes a base hit. That turns into just a fielder's choice. And the 9-6 put out.
High in the air to right center. Andrew Haig going back, taking a couple steps pedaling and makes the catch for the third and final out. But the Sharks get another 4 runs for the Sharks thus far as we're heading to the bottom of the third. Ninth and top, Andrew Haig, Ian Osberg, Alex Leparco, Dylan Reynolds, if any of them get on. Winkle. Andrew Haig came with a .210 average with 6 RBIs. He swings at the first pitch into center field, gives the Blues another hit. And this first pitch swinging that we saw against the North Shore Navigators has continued, and they're getting pieces off of Ketchy. They just haven't been able to get the runs across.
It's a good start there for Bristol, though, and Andy Haig staying hot after he got the start a couple nights ago against North Shore. He went 2 for 3 with a run scored in that one, but continuing his hitting streak here. But like you said, Chris, it's all about getting the timely hits, and they've had a couple leadoff men on. They've had men on base pretty much throughout this entire game.
And Osberg, he swings at the first pitch, was rewarded back in the first inning with a single to right. This time he flies out to Chamberlain in center field for the first out.
But it's all about sustaining offense, and you don't want to burn yourself out too early. You got Andy Haig aboard, leadoff base hit, and now the top of your order is set to roll here. So I wonder if Ronnie Palmer, chasing 4 runs, does he want to put anything in action, maybe scratch a run across here early enough so this game doesn't unravel and get out of the hands of Bristol.
Leparco looks at a strike 0-1, and as you mentioned earlier with Ketchy's numbers, 4 walks on the season. He's not going to gift wrap you any sort of runs. You're going to have to earn them via the hit, home run, or try to knock them out as early as possible. Leparco drives it into right center. Hartman goes back. He's able to make the over-the-shoulder catch for the second out. That's going to drive Haig back to first base.
You could hear there a bit of a sigh from the crowd after that catch was made, and something that's a little bit understated from this Martha's Vineyard team is their defense. When you have outfielders like Chamberlain and even Hartman there ranging to his right, able to make that play in the gap, it kind of deflates an offense. And we've seen a lot of well-hit balls from Bristol, but the Martha's Vineyard defense has been there every step of the way to counter them and keep them off the base pads. So the Sharks defense doing the job so far and not allowing any extra base hits off the bat of Bristol.
Dylan Reynolds getting a second at bat. He fouls it back and quickly falls to an 0-2 count. Reynolds came in with a .319 average, 8 stolen bases on the season. He's playing first base tonight here at Muzzy Field, and he also has a 7-game hit streak on the line. Throw back to first. And we saw Ketchy almost have Osberg picked off back in the first inning when Chamberlain was picked off by Winkle. But because we only have one umpire at home plate, it's a little bit more difficult. We had a field umpire, might be different. And on the hands to right center, Hartman going to be coming in, waves off his teammates in center and second, and makes the catch for the third and final out. The Blues strand a runner on first after the leadoff single by Andrew Haig, but 3 straight flyouts by Osberg, Leparco, and Reynolds. And the Blues miss at least what looked to have been, AJ, an opportunity to be able to score maybe a run and try to chip away.
Not a leadoff base runner for Bristol, but the top of the order coming up, going down in order. And I think a guy like Ketchy, you got to take advantage of your opportunities because he has the ability to shut innings down, just shut any teams down that get on base and try to do anything. So this Bristol team going to have to take any advantage that they can, but Ketchy right now, the lefty, very efficient and not really willing to bend or give this Bristol offense anything to look forward to right now as he went right down the order there, 1, 2, 3, with no problem.
And the Bristol Blues, if you look at the standings, the Sharks are in first place. The Worcester Bravehearts are 1 game behind the Sharks, and then the Blues are 3.5. But technically, when you look at them against the Worcester Bravehearts, they're 3 games ahead in terms of the loss column, 2 games behind in the wins column. So the playoff format, depending on how the situations go today and if we're able to get tomorrow's game in, because we looked at the weather for the rest of the week, and it's going to be nothing but rain. So the standings could be either set in stone within the next couple of days, depending on how the games are, AJ, or it can get very sticky quickly.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that Worcester team is probably the hottest team in the league right now. They're winners of 9 straight, 15 of their last 16, and it's a bit of a logjam up there at the top. And, you know, this Bristol team, they're going to have to fight and claw either way they can to just stay in the top half of the rankings right now. But, you know, this Martha's Vineyard team, they're feeling the pressure too because this Worcester team is making some noise right now in the second half. So we talk about it's been a marathon this entire summer, but now as we're rounded into the home stretch, it's turning into more of a sprint.
As Hartman lines that into left field for a base hit over the head of the shortstop Osberg, and the Sharks continue their hitting, ranked 3rd in the FCBL in hits, and I think after today that might potentially go up. 6 hits on the day for the Sharks. Now we'll bring up the 8-batter, Tate Kolek, and then Colin Shapiro, if any of them get on, Matt Chamberlain. And Kolek swings at the first pitch up the third baseline, but goes foul. And it looks like we do have some bullpen action warming up for the Bristol Blues. It is a left-hander.
Looks like Jason Hebner out there, and he's normally the long man for Bristol. So DeLeese only at 51 pitches right now, but as you said, he's given up 6 hits. So getting banged around a little bit so far. So Ronnie Palmer certainly with some decisions to make if anything's going to break loose here in the top of the 4th. DeLeese might be on a little bit of a short leash.
Kolek 1 for 1 on the day thus far. Looks at a high fastball, 1-2. So far, 4 runs for the Sharks, none for the Bristol Blues thus far here in the top of the 4th. A leadoff single by Hartman. And Kolek with a 1-2 count. Nice job by Winkle to at least keep that ball in front and not allow the Sharks to be able to run the base paths. As you mentioned earlier, AJ, they steal a lot of bases.
103, and that's second best in the league. So always looking to swipe that extra bag and get guys in scoring position. So DeLeese definitely going to have to be aware.
1-2 to Kolek. This has a chance to stay fair. Reynolds is going towards foul territory, backs up a couple, and a nice play from what typically he's played in the outfield, kind of showing his moves at first base.
Yeah, Reynolds a true outfielder, but, you know, with the illness of Matt Bonvicini, we haven't talked about that. Dylan Reynolds having to make the adjustment over there at first base. Not a natural first baseman, but a nice job there. Those foul balls can be the toughest play, but as we mentioned, Matt Bonvicini, he's homesick right now, coming down with a case of mono, so you never really know how long those can last.
Hit and run was on, but foul back, 0-1, and you're right. I think Bonvicini not being in the lineup, Malloy being out with a oblique strain really kind of, I don't want to say puts a hole in the lineup because they do have weapons. Teddy Haig has really come up of late, but not having those guys and kind of being the staples of what they were for, you could say, from June 18th on, kind of, it does hurt. It doesn't help. 0-1 coming from DeLeese to the left side through the 5.5 hole and into left field. Sharks with their 7th hit. Hartman's going to advance to one base, first and second with one down.
And with that being said, though, Chris, I do think you have to give credit to this Bristol team after Justin Henry Malloy going down with the injury and Matt Bonvicini not being in the lineup. They have won 6 of their last 7 to keep pace with the top of the league. So, even though those 2 big bats in the lineup haven't really been there, guys like you mentioned, Teddy Haig, Andy Haig, Peyton Stevens on a little bit of a tear lately, stepping up big time and filling in for the guys who they're kind of suffering the consequences of the wear and tear of a long summer. 56 games being played this summer, and a lot of these younger guys have never really experienced that. Malloy, going to be a freshman next year at Vanderbilt, as that one's ripped foul. But, Malloy, going to be a freshman at Vanderbilt next year, hasn't played this many games. And the guy Bonvicini, who just played this spring, finished up his freshman year at UConn. He hasn't really been playing in an everyday type situation. So, that's a lot of the wear and tear coming back to bite Bristol. But, guys are going to have to step up in this late game situation. Jimmy Sullivan out there in left field and Reynolds at first base.
0-2 count on Chamberlain, the University of New Haven Charger outfielder. Takes a pitch in the dirt, 1-2, and Chamberlain does not strike out that much, only 12 on the season with 26 walks. And here's the big one, 20 stolen bases. And he's only been caught now 5 times as he was picked off back in the first.
That leads the league, so the center fielder, super athletic, can make plays all around the field. Always dangerous at the plate.
1-2 coming. Low, 2-2, and if you're DeLeach, you're going to have to come right after Chamberlain. He's not going to swing at a pitcher's pitch. One of the, I would say, I'll go on record, one of the best eyes in the FCBL. 2-2 coming to the left-handed hitter. Slider in the dirt that was at least 3 feet in front of home plate, but Winkle showing off the moves. Full count. I would anticipate the runners to be going on the pitch.
Interesting there. Might have been a miscommunication, but as the lease lifted and extended towards the plate, you saw Ian Osberg there at short. Looked like he was jumping towards second base. I don't know if there was a planned pickoff move going there.
Fastball outside. DeLeach gets Chamberlain looking. Only his 13th strikeout of the season. That's a big one for the right-hander.
Good pitch right there, low and inside, and Chamberlain trying to stretch that strike zone, but home plate umpire not giving him that call. Big strikeout there, 2 away now for DeLeach, 1 step closer, getting out of a jam.
And he'll have the dangerous Tyler Winsig, 310 with 6 RBIs. Has been a pest and a thorn of the Blues in quite a few games this year, but swings at the first pitch, 0-1. Winsig, who goes to Bucknell, the teammate of Alex Bauman. Actually, they have 2 Bucknell. They have Hartman and they have Winsig, who's at the plate. 0-1 slider. Home plate umpire is going to say he went, and the reason why we can't, as you saw the home plate umpire kind of point out, we do not have a field umpire because there was a little bit of miscommunication with the time. So, but we do have one. That was funny, though.
You only need one, and good sense of humor there from the home plate umpire.
I want to know, who was he pointing to?
I think he was just playing with the crowd right there.
1-1 low, 2-1, and we're not seeing the same zip on the fastball from DeLeach as we did in the first, and his pitch count is rising above 50, so it might be teetering on that line if you're the Bristol Blues and Ronnie Palmer right now. Nice slider, 2-2.
67 pitches for DeLeach, but I think if he can get out of this one, get this final out here, and strand 2 runners, I think Ronnie Palmer would have faith in him, run him back out there for at least a 5th, but still needs to execute right here and make a good pitch to get out of this 2-man on jam.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to the left side. Another hit through the 5.5 hole. Third base coach is going to hold on the runner. That's Hartman at third, and the bases will be loaded, full of Sharks. And that's going to bring up Matt Oldham, who is tied with his teammate on deck, Hathaway, for 5 home runs. And DeLeach is in some trouble.
Nice job there from Sullivan, able to get that ball in quickly, holding Hartman at third. And Ronnie Palmer coming out. And
AJ,
it looks like he's going to go to the pen.
Did you see, and I just noticed this now, I think Mendez, the manager for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, was telling Hartman to go. I think he wanted to test the arm of Sullivan, but for some reason, Hartman stopped.
Did not see that, but as we said, Ronnie Palmer going to the pen, so Michael DeLeese, his day is done, but he is still responsible for all 3 runners. So we'll be right back here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bases loaded jam. Ronnie Palmer going to the bullpen.
Michael DeLeese's day is done. The right-hander taken off the mound by Ronnie Palmer, and coming in, AJ, is Patrick Hannon.
Patrick Hannon, the sophomore out of Franklin Pierce, native of Wellington, Connecticut, making his 3rd appearance, all of them out of the bullpen, and a lofty 10.38 ERA. So Hannon looking to make something happen here and lower that ERA, but more importantly, bases loaded, 2 outs. Ronnie Palmer opting for the lefty-lefty matchup here, trying to get out of this jam without any damage done.
And I can see why he did. Lefty on left. A little bit of a test for Hannon. 1-0. First 2 pitches from Hannon have been uncompetitive and way outside. 2-0. Wincig at first. Hartman at third. Shapiro, at second base. Matt Oldham at the plate. 2-0. Off-speed pitch gets Oldham way out in front. 2-1.
Hannon took something off it there, and Oldham looking 2-0, drive something. Hannon taking something off there. Oldham way out in front. We'll see here what Hannon does, if he's going to go back to that pitch, but could be dangerous if Oldham caught up to it.
The 2-1 off the end of the bat, but foul back behind us. 2-2. The infield playing back. You could even see the outfielders, too, except for Sullivan. Both Leparco and Stevens playing close to the shadows. Oldham does have power. He's tied with Hathaway, who's on deck with 5 home runs together on the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Slider outside. Big strike 3 for the left-hander, Patrick Hannon. And the Sharks leave the bases loaded. And the move by Ronnie Palmer, that one worked. Heading to the bottom of the 4th. 4-0. Maybe this will entice the Bristol Blues to be able to chip away against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks right here from historic Muzzy Field. That was big. A big strikeout from the left-hander, Patrick Hannon, escaped any sort of threat from the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, stranding the bases loaded. And maybe that will kind of help this Blues team, which currently is down 4-0. 8 hits by the Sharks, 3 hits and 1 error for the Bristol Blues. They will have 4-5-6. Winkle, Brereton, Haig. Winkle takes a big cut but misses. 0-1. If any of them get on. Sullivan. Oh, 1 left on left. Good eye by Winkle, 1-1. He's kind of asking the home plate umpire, how far is that going to be?
Winkle making the start today and only be here on select days the rest of the year for Bristol as that one gets away. But Winkle going to be a freshman at UConn next year nearby, so he's up at school, getting ahead on his classes this summer, so he's up there working out. So as he fouls that one back, he'll only be able to participate for the Blues on select weekend games like today. So, again, this league, developmental, getting your work and getting you prepared for your college season. So, Winkle taking full advantage of that.
The 2-2. Winkle drives it into left center, giving chases Chamberlain, and that's going to get all the way to the wall. Winkle showing his power. Rounds first and gets to second. 2 for 2 on the day is Patrick Winkle. And this kid is impressive.
You said it, Chris. I mean, he's showcasing his power right there, and that looked almost like just a flick of the wrist there from Winkle. A pitch out over the outer half of the plate, able to stay back and drive it into the opposite field and splitting the outfielders right through the gap. And a 2-hit performance already for Winkle and another leadoff man on for Bristol. And Bristol's going to have to claw their way back into this one, and they need to score runs in this inning if they want to have any chance of coming back, because the longer you go without runs against Ketchy, the tougher it is to come back in the latter half of the game.
And Brereton taking a page out of Adrian Beltre's shoe, swinging out 0-1. So what you're saying is they have to catch Ketchy.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that as a pun, Chris. We're just going to move on from that one. 0-1 now to Brereton.
Winkle on at second, 0-1 on Richard Brereton. In the dirt, underneath Raposo, and gets behind him. Winkle, throw to third. Safe. A nice heads-up play from Winkle. As soon as you commit, you have to go. He did, and Raposo didn't find it until it was too late.
Winkle committed, but it took him a long time to do so. I mean, that ball was rolling around back there for a while, and I thought he was going to be dead in the water, but after showing off some strength at the plate, showing off some wheels there, able to beat the throw into third. And now with Brereton, just a simple fly ball, get the run in here.
Slider, back door, 1-2, and Brereton had a nice piece. Actually, a hard liner was right to Chamberlain, and I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. So if he does that same thing again, maybe more of a higher launch angle, I would think Winkle will score from third. Blues looking to at least get one here. 1-2. Brereton swings and misses. Raposo has to complete the process at first. And Brereton does not do his job as Winkle has to stay at third.
Nasty off speed there from Ketchy in the dirt, and Brereton defensive with 2 strikes, just could not hold up on that ball in the dirt. And normally in those situations when you're at the plate, all you think about is, okay, I just want to make contact, And when you see anything that looks remotely close to the plate, you're just going to go out there and swing, and Brereton could not help himself.
Haig swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. Haig has to see some pitches. He's only seen 2. Well, now he'll see more than he did his first at-bat, but
Haig, that is his style. I mean, aggressive by nature and a couple hits, couple RBIs in the win over North Shore the other day. So, I mean, you can't fault him for that, getting up there aggressive. And
slider, Winkle, or rather, pardon me, Haig. Soft liner right to the first baseman, Winsig. And if it was a couple more feet, that's a single and an RBI, but instead it's the second out.
I mean, just some more bad luck. I mean, we've seen about 3 or 4 lineouts, hard, loud lineouts from Bristol, and especially with a guy on third base, all you're asking is a lazy fly ball, and after a strikeout and a lineout, you're going to need a base hit to score Winkle from third.
Off the hands, hits Peyton Stevens' foot, and it's going to be called foul. Stevens flew out to left field back in the second inning.
Stevens, another guy in that North Shore victory, a huge 2-out triple, and that turned out to be the game-winning hit as he scored Teddy Haig, giving Bristol a 5-4 lead, and they would hold on to win 6-4. But that hit coming with 2 outs, and as I mentioned earlier, 6 runs scored with 2 outs in their victory over North Shore 2 nights ago, and Peyton Stevens looking for some more 2-out magic here, trying to score Winkle and get on the board.
1-1 to Stevens. High slider, 2 in, 1 is the count. Winkle still on at third. Start off the bottom of the fourth with a leadoff double. Advanced to third on a pitch that got away from Raposo, the catcher for the Sharks, and then a strikeout from Brereton, a soft liner from Haig. Stevens to left, another liner to the same guy, same spot, right to Shapiro. And the Blues strand a runner on at third and failed to be able to at least get one as we're heading to the top of the fifth. 4-0. Sharks are up over the Bristol Blues right here from historic Muzzy Field. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry on the call for this First Responders Military Appreciation Day. And we thank you all for tuning in and taking a part of your Saturday afternoon to be able to watch this game from historic Muzzy Field.
Okay. All right. Top of the fifth action here at Muzzy Field. Bristol Blues trailing the Martha's Vineyard Sharks 4-0. It'll be Hathaway, Rapper, and Raposo for Martha's Vineyard, as Patrick Hannon deals strike one to Hathaway, and Hannon, the lefty, came on last inning, bases loaded with 2 outs, able to come in and strike out the 3-hitter, Oldham, looking for the final out of the inning to escape without any damage done, looking to build upon that performance and keep Bristol in this ball game. But as we said, Chris, a little bit of bad luck so far for Bristol on the offensive side.
It really has, and I get it's 4-0 right now.
Hannon with the strikeout there to start the inning. Hathaway down on strikes for the first out.
And maybe I might be wrong here, AJ, but it feels like it's 10-0 because the Blues aren't striking out. They're continuously putting hard contact, but they're not being rewarded. And then when you have a chance with Winkle on its second and then third base with nobody out and you can't capitalize, it has a bad aura right now. And this crowd, too, is very quiet.
I'll bring up third baseman Jackson Rapper. The 1-0 from Hannon. Flipped foul down the left field side. 1-1 the count.
Jackson Rapper, one of the selections for the All-Star game for the Futures Collegiate League, the FCBO. He, along with Chamberlain and actually quite a number of his teammates, as I think the Sharks and Nashua had the most players selected.
The 1-1 chopped up the middle. Haig fields. He's going to have to hurry. He fires. Reynolds cannot come up with the pick. Winkle and Reynolds chase after the ball. So Rapper is aboard there. Was going to be a tough play. Haig coming in from second base, trying to throw across his body. Unable to make the play as Rapper is aboard with one away.
And I can't give Haig an error on that because that's not a routine play. He's throwing on the run, charging in on that play as well. And, Reynolds, typically, as you said, he's an outfielder, so he's getting I think it's his second start now at first base. So it's a tough play all around, but been a very tough day for the Bristol Blues thus far.
It'll bring up Raposo, the catcher. He takes strike one, and you have to think there. That ball was hit right up the middle. Wonder, Chris, if it would have been an easier play for Osberg coming in from shortstop. Didn't have to go across his body. Might have been able to make the play, but nonetheless, one out. That ball gets away from Winkle, and Rapper's going to advance to second as an off-speed. Looked like it was trying to be a backdoor off-speed pitch, or back foot off-speed pitch. Winkle couldn't handle it. Rapper advances 90 feet into scoring position. The 1-1 swung on, lifted into left. Sullivan giving chase. He's not going to get there. It's over his head. That's going to roll to the wall. Rapper will score. Raposo motoring around second on his way to third, and he is in there with a triple. Scoring is Raposo. Scoring is Rapper as the lead advances to 5-0 now in favor of Martha's Vineyard.
Raposo's second triple of the day, his third RBI, and we're only in the top of the fifth. And he's moving like he's not a catcher. He's moving like a guy who can play infield. And look who we have here, the infield umpire. He has arrived.
Bit of a sarcastic applause there from the field ump. Coming in mid-game substitution. But for the Blues, another sticky situation. It'll be Hartman here, the right fielder, as he takes strike one, as Ronnie Palmer has brought the infield in, trying to cut down the run at the plate. 5-0 the score here in the fifth. Patrick Hannon, he deals. This one's lifted into center. Giving chase is Leparco. Sullivan's there. He's going to make the play, but with his back turned towards home plate. So Raposo will come in to score easily on the sac fly off the bat of Hartman, and it's 6-0.
Second sac fly for Hartman, 2 RBIs from him, and then you have 3 from Raposo. That's been all the offense from the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, and now the Blues down 6-0, 10 hits to 4 hits, going from bad to worse if you're a Bristol Blues fan.
Tate Colwick takes strike one, the second baseman. Colwick 2 for 2 on the day, a couple of base hits. The 0-1 swung on, grounded to third. Brereton is there. He fields and fires across. Reynolds able to hang on. Bit of a tricky hop there, but that'll do it. 2 runs for the Sharks as they extend their lead now 6-0. The Blues looking for some runs. We head to the bottom half of the fifth here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. The Blues looking to make something happen here in the bottom of the fifth. They have been blanked so far in this one. Leading things off for Bristol will be Jimmy Sullivan, followed by Andy Haig. Back to the top, Ian Osberg. Sullivan, the left fielder, takes strike one, and they're going to have to do some work against the lefty, Ketchy, who has been dominant thus far, just 4 hits. Sullivan swings at that one in the dirt. Not even close, and quickly Sullivan in the hole, 0-2.
Sullivan going into his freshman year in the fall at Virginia, the ACC Virginia, and as that pitch is in the dirt, and you could just tell that he's young, he's raw, just by the routes he was taking in left field, the at-bats that he's had thus far, batting 188 with 7 strikeouts. He'll learn.
The 1-2 catches the outside corner. Sullivan down looking for the first out of the fifth.
And as we've talked about many times with a lot of these young players, Sullivan, Winkle, we can go down the line, and you said it perfectly, AJ. If once he gets into the program, I would anticipate he'll be a better player next year.
That'll bring up Andy Haig, the second baseman. He lines one into left, and that'll be down for a base hit. Andy Haig, his second hit of the evening. So he's finding all the right spots here. Second hit in this one, and he went 2 for 3 against North Shore. So making a case there in the 9-hole for some more at-bats, and that'll bring us back to the top. Ian Osberg with 1 away.
I can see why you said that. You felt like Andrew Haig was batting over 300 because every time we've seen him play, it's almost like he gets hits.
Osberg now 1 for 2 on the day. A base hit in the first, a fly out in the third. He takes ball 1 in the dirt. Good stop there from Raposo. Corralling that one, keeping Haig at first.
On deck is Leparco playing center field tonight for the Bristol Blues, and in the hole is Dylan Reynolds.
The 1-0 catches the bottom half of the strike zone, strike one. And how about this, Chris? 36 strikes for Ketchy as opposed to just 12 balls. So he is pounding the zone so far, paying dividends. The 1-1, all speed in the dirt. Haig's going to take off. The throw, not even close. So Haig, aggressive there. Sat back on the first ball in the dirt, but on the move there as he takes second base on the wild pitch.
A lot of times when you're, as a catcher, when you know you're getting an off-speed pitch from a left-hander, just like you saw with Hannon earlier with Winkle, if it's going to be on the inside part of the plate in the right-handed hitter's batter's box, it'll typically go away on the right side.
2-1. Good spot there from Ketchy, low and away. Nothing Osberg was going to be able to do with that one. 2-2 the count now to the Bristol shortstop.
And because of that, it's the backspin on the ball, and that's why it will usually jolt to the right.
The 2-2 pitch, off speed, swung on and missed. Looked like Ketchy took a little bit off there. Missed with the location high. Nonetheless, Osberg unable to catch up to that one. He's down on strikes. Ketchy's third strikeout of the evening.
And the reason why he was able to get away with that mistake pitch high is because he hit his spot low. And because of that, Osberg had to respect it, and you saw what happened there, a strikeout.
Alex Leparco takes a strike on the inside corner, and Ketchy just continuing to pour the strikes in right now, keeping these Bristol batters on their heels. But Leparco looking to break through here with 2 outs and Haig on second. That one a called strike. See Leparco turning his back. Not a fan of that call as he is quickly now in the hole, 0-2. And Leparco 0 for 2 on the day, a couple of flyouts.
Leparco came in with a 4-game hitting streak, 17 walks to 15 strikeouts, looking to try to get to 5 games with a hit here.
The 0-2 swung on, chopped up the middle. Hathaway is there. He fields, fires in time. Good pick from Winsig over there at first. So Ketchy strands another Bristol runner. This time it was Andy Haig out there at second base. But the top of the order unable to do anything as Ketchy continues to roll here. 6-0 the score as we roll on into the 6th. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We're rolling on into the 6th inning here. Patrick Hannon still on the bump in relief for Bristol. It'll be 9 then top for Martha's Vineyard. Shapiro, Chamberlain, and Winsig due up. Shapiro 1 for 2 on the day as he takes strike 1 from the lefty. 0-1 the count.
And Hannon back on for his second clean inning of work. Came in relief with the bases loaded and was able to get a key strikeout.
Strike 2 from Hannon. And you got to give the lefty credit. He came into this one with a 10.38 ERA, and that's something that you don't really like to see on the stat sheet. As Shapiro lifts this one down the left field line foul, but coming into this one, 4.1 innings pitched, giving up 10 hits in those 4 innings. So another crooked number you don't like to see, but so far he's weathered the storm as he fans Shapiro there off speed. Looks like he took a little bit off there. Shapiro, strikeout victim for the first out of the 6th inning.
And third strikeout for Hannon, 2 via the K on a swing, 1 looking. And for a guy who came in, as you said, AJ, over a 10 ERA, he's not looking like it right now.
Matt Chamberlain, top of the Martha's Vineyard lineup, showing bunt there, but takes strike 1.
I don't fault the attempt bunt play by Chamberlain. You saw Hannon kind of landing towards third base. Dylan Reynolds playing behind first.
That one must have caught Chamberlain right on the jersey. Not much of a reaction there, but the center fielder awarded first base. Another hit batsman here for Bristol. So Chamberlain is aboard, and that'll bring up Tyler Winsig, the first baseman.
Bristol Blues ranked 3rd in the FCBO in hit by pitches. So definitely not something you want. And with Chamberlain, who has 20 stolen bases on the season.
Winsig takes high and away, 1-0.
Winsig 1 for 3 on the day. Struck out in the first, grounded out in the third, and singled to left back in the 4th.
Hannig checking on Chamberlain over there at first, nothing doing. 1-0 still the count to Winsig.
Hannon's got it various times. Because Chamberlain, I've seen him quite a few times up at the University of New Haven. He has a tendency to read pitchers very quickly, and you have to change your times and your rhythms to home plate. Otherwise, it's going to be an easy stolen base.
The 1-0 swung on, hit to Osberg. He fields, tosses to Haig, on to first, in time. A 6-4-3 double play. Just what the doctor ordered there for Patrick Hannon. As we head to the bottom of the 6th, Hannon able to escape the hit batsman. 6-0 your score. Martha's Vineyard leading here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the sixth here at Muzzy Field, but the Blues in some trouble here. 6-0. Martha's Vineyard leading. It'll be Dylan Reynolds, Pat Winkle, and Rich Brereton. 3-4-5 for the Blues. As the lefty Ketchy, he deals ball one to the three-hole hitter, the first baseman today, Dylan Reynolds. Takes a called strike. Reynolds 0 for 2 on the day, a fly out and a line out. He takes strike two. And Ketchy, his sixth inning of work, but he continues to roll here. Quickly ahead, 1-2. That one in the dirt, 2-2.
59th pitch coming from Ketchy, and we're already in the sixth inning. And even with a pitch count in the FCBL and each one of these pitchers coming from their college teams having a strict number of pitches they can throw, he could very easily go 7 innings.
That one's grounded to first. Winsig Fields takes it himself for the first out of the inning. Reynolds is retired.
0 for 3 on the day is Reynolds, and it would have been nice if he was able to get on base with Winkle, who's 2 for 2 on the day with a single to right and then a double to left center. But instead now Winkle comes up with nobody on, and the Blues down 6-0.
59 pitches, as you said, for Winsig. Make it 60 as Winkle takes strike one. And of those, 46 have been strikes in just 15 balls. So Ketchy just having his way so far with this Bristol lineup. As Winkle, he's been the only bright spot as he notches his third base hit of the afternoon. Winkle 3 for 3. He's on base for the third time today.
You can see why the New Haven Register named him the all-area player, because of that kind of talent. We saw the pickoff throw of Chamberlain in the first. We've seen the power with him in left center with the double. 2 singles, both to right field. Every game that we were able to see him play, and it's not much because he has to go up to UConn and go into their program and such, he's very impressive.
We'll bring Rich Brereton up. He takes ball one in the dirt. And you have to think, Chris, at the rate that Ketchy's dominating right now, you know, this 3-4-5 in the lineup only getting their third at bats. You don't know the next time these guys are going to come up through the lineup. So right now is a prime opportunity to scratch a few runs across.
And the only way that Ketchy would come out of this game is because of the pitch count and because of his college telling him he can only throw this much and so on. So that would be the only way. And if you're the Blues, you're almost happy that he's taken out whenever that happens, if it happens.
The 2-0 catches the outside corner. Nice pitch there from Ketchy. 2-1 now to Brereton.
And Brereton struck out in the fourth when Winkle was on at third, who reached on a wild pitch.
The lefty deals. Chop to third. Rapper is there. He goes to second for the force out. On to first. Not in time. Brereton able to leg that one out. But Rapper able to get the lead runner, Winkle, at second for the second out of the inning. So Brereton, mark that down, a fielder's choice. 2 away now. That'll bring up designated hitter Teddy Haig with 2 out and Brereton off first.
And Haig has hit both times to the right side, a ground ball to the second baseman, then a soft liner to Winsig, who had to kind of jump maybe 2 inches to get after it, but there was a chance for Haig to be able to get the runner from third, but unsuccessful.
Haig again swinging at the first pitch, Chris. He fouls that one back. And something interesting I've noticed from Haig is he's kind of got a closed-off batting stance, kind of sits back. But when he swings, he's really exploding towards the pitch, and that's really helped him hit for power so far this summer. The 0-1 just off the outside corner. 1-1 the count now to the designated hitter.
And if you combine that with the fact that he has a good eye at the plate and he chokes up, which we don't see a lot from batters, that's why he always has a good bat-to-ball skills.
The 1-1 way inside. 2-1 now to Haig. Teddy Haig out of Yale. He's hitting .305 with 8 RBIs and 5 runs in the month of July. So a bit of a hot streak is he swings at the 2-1, lifts it down the left field side, and that'll drop in there for a base hit. Shapiro had to field it on a bounce. Brereton being waved around. The relay, it gets by the catcher, Raposo, so Brereton will score. Teddy Haig advancing to third on the errant throw. So finally the Bristol Blues on the board on the base hit off the bat of Teddy Haig. 6-1 now, Martha's Vineyard in the lead.
Now, I don't know exactly how you would record that. It's not an RBI because of the air, but I would give Teddy Haig at least a double on that. And right there, that was a pitch in on the hands, but Haig having enough barrel control, pull that pitch, or rather pull the bat inside, and that's all because he choked up. And I think that shows the type of skills that both Teddy Haig and his brother Andrew Haig have.
That'll bring up Peyton Stevens with 2 outs. He takes ball 1 off the outside half. So Haig 90 feet away, and we've mentioned the Blues just have to scratch and claw their way back into this one as Stevens takes strike 1, but Haig off third. I mean, that would be a huge second run. Cut that lead to just 4, but with a few outs left in this game, only a couple innings left to play, that would be big. Stevens fights that one off foul down the right field line out of play.
And for Ronnie Palmer to send Brereton, you're almost taking a risk because you're down 6-0. Every run, every out counts. And maybe he felt like, okay, let me see if Rapper can make the throw all the way from close to the grass behind third base. He didn't make it, and now the Blues have a run with a chance for another with Teddy Haig at third.
The 1-2 pitch, swung on line, up the middle, and through into center field. So Peyton Stevens, a big 2-out base hit, scoring Teddy Haig. He's going to move to second. The throw is not in time. A heads-up play from Peyton Stevens taking advantage, and he's in there to second with a base hit, but more importantly, Teddy Haig coming around to score, and the lead now just 4, 6-2 in favor of Martha's Vineyard.
Heads-up play by Peyton Stevens. That ball kind of died into center field, or rather shallow center field, and with Chamberlain playing so far back, he really had to go after that ball. And Stevens taking the advantage, the high baseball IQ right there to get to second base. And now, only down by 4.
Jimmy Sullivan now the left fielder at the dish. He swings and misses that pitch. Sullivan 0 for 2 on the day, but that ball gets by, but nothing doing. A little bit of some sloppy play here from Martha's Vineyard. An errant throw on a relay, and then a slow reaction on another relay pitch, and there an overthrow. So Martha's Vineyard, some mental lapses here, and Bristol looking to take advantage. But going back to that wave around from Ronnie Palmer, I think that was the right move. You know, the way Ketchy's been throwing with 2 outs, you don't know what's guaranteed. Fortune favors the bold, and Ronnie Palmer there being bold, and he was rewarded. Sullivan lifts this one down the right field line. That'll drop in there for extra bases. Stevens will score easily. On his way to second is Jimmy Sullivan with a stand-up 2-out RBI double. And just like that, the lead is cut in half, 6-3, and the Blues making some noise here with a 2-out rally.
The comeback kids right there. Sullivan struggling at the plate, 188 average on the season, but a pitch that hung, he kind of, it being a left-on-left matchup, left-on-left rather, really had to keep that shoulder back and was able to drive that off-speed pitch to right field.
And that'll bring out pitching coach Andrew McKeon for Martha's Vineyard. He's going to talk things over with his lefty, Brian Ketchy, who was absolutely dealing. The Blues just could not touch Brian Ketchy. But after a couple of base hits and some errant throws, the Blues are on the board and threatening here, 6-3, with a man still in scoring position. That's Jimmy Sullivan off second base, looking to cut even further into the Shark lead.
And that is the first RBI of the season for Jimmy Sullivan.
And if you believe in Dew, Sullivan coming into this one, the youngster, just hitting 188 up to that at bat did not have an RBI and just 1 run scored, making his first start since the 4th of July, so nearly 2 weeks since Ronnie Palmer trusted him to go back in the lineup, but coming through in a big way with an RBI double, and Andy Haig being aggressive right there, fouling that first pitch off. Haig coming into this at bat with 2 hits already, 2 for 2 on the day.
And you had a feeling eventually that pitches were eventually going to be missed from Ketchy, and the Blues were going to have the ability.
The 0-1 lifted into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. Jimmy Sullivan being waved around the play at the plate. The throw is cut off. Andy Haig on his way to third after another errant throw. So the rally continues. An RBI single off the bat of Andy Haig, and it's a 6-4 ball game here in the 6th.
Sloppy play from the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. As I was saying before, they were making hard contact and they weren't falling. Now they are. 4 runs across, and with the speed of the Blues testing the Sharks in terms of having to make accurate throws, as now you're seeing the catcher, Raposo, going out to talk with his lefty. And what looked to have been, in a way, Ketchy kind of felt like, okay, he was going through the Blues lineup with ease in a sense, but this inning alone have not been able to get that final out. And we saw before the 2-out rallies against North Shore. How many times did they get runs from the 6th inning on?
It was 6 runs scored with 2 outs. I mean, the scoring didn't start until the 5th inning, and now in the 6th inning here, the Blues making their move. Brian Ketchy up to 77 pitches in the inning. Top of the order now, Ian Osberg set to hit. The pitch swung on, grounded foul down the first base side. Andy Haig off third base. 4 runs already in for the Blues in the inning. 5 hits as they've finally cracked the code on the Martha's Vineyard starter, Brian Ketchy. The 0-1 fought off, foul ball, 0-2 now.
If the Blues can just get one more run right here, going into the 7th inning, 6-5 is a lot better than 6-4. But either way, at least getting the 4 runs kind of bodes well, because now, with the amount of outs you have left to play with, life for the Blues.
The 0-2 swung on and missed, so Ketchy shutting the door there, but not before the damage is done. It is a whole new ball game here at Muzzy Field. 4 runs on 5 hits. 6-4, Martha's Vineyard leads, but the Blues right back in this one. Stick around. It's going to be an exciting finish here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel as we roll on into the 7th inning. We'll be right back. So a whole new ball game here at Muzzy Field, 6-4 now after a 4-run, 2-out rally from the Bristol Blues. And it'll be a new pitcher here for Bristol, making his debut, and what a spot to come into, Adam Schwartz, the righty. He faces Oldham, who pops one up, foul territory. Brereton is there. He makes the play as he had a float. It looked like back into fair territory, but made the play nonetheless. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Adam Schwartz, the righty out of Pennsylvania. He's committed to play college ball at UConn this coming spring.
And it's crucial for Adam Schwartz and the Blues to get 1, 2, 3 right here and get that hot offense, which scored 4 in the last half, back out there in the bottom of the 7th.
Hathaway takes ball 1. Hathaway, the shortstop. The 1-0 pitch misses upstairs, 1-0. The 2-0 catches the inside corner, 2-1. Hathaway, 0 for 2 on the day. Reached on an error, struck out, and was hit by a pitch back in the second. Came around to score as he swings through that pitch. 2-2 now. And Schwartz, the righty, some decent velocity so far. 2-2 now to the shortstop.
Nice tight slider for that strike 2 swing and miss. Let's see if we can get it right here.
The 2-2 pitch. Oh, man. Caught a piece of Hathaway, and I don't know if it caught him on the shoulder, or to me it looked like it hit him in the head or maybe even the face, Chris. But Hathaway able to jog his way down to first base. Looks like he's fine, but that looked like it could have been a scary outcome there. But glad he's okay.
Schwartz kind of opened up a little bit too quickly on the fastball, had that arm side run, but we're glad that Hathaway's okay.
That'll bring up third baseman Jackson Rapper. For Hathaway, that was the second time he was hit on the day. Rapper grounds this one to Haig. Could be 2. He flips to Osberg on to first in time. So after hitting Hathaway, Schwartz inducing a 4-6-3 double play. Just what the doctor ordered now. As we'll stretch here at Muzzy Field, bottom of the 7th. The Blues trailing by 2. Going to make something happen here in the bottom of the 7th. Looking to tie things up. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues, the YouTube channel. We'll be right back. 6-4 ball game here at Muzzy Field. 2, 3, 4 set to hit for Bristol. Leparco, Reynolds, Winkle. And they're going to face a reliever for Martha's Vineyard. It'll be Connor Hall, the righty, out of Marymount as he deals a first pitch strike. Looked like a nice tight off-speed pitch there to Leparco, the center fielder. The 0-1 lifted right side, giving chases Winsig. He's there, and he will make the play for the first out of the inning. So Leparco down on the flyout to the first baseman.
Reynolds 0 for 3 on the day. Came in with a 7-game hit streak, but right now this could potentially be maybe his last at bat unless some miraculous thing happens here, but we'll see what happens.
Reynolds takes a called strike on the inner half. Reynolds has been on an absolute tear of late. He's hitting .433 with 6 RBIs and 4 runs scored in the month of July as he takes strike 2. And you can see right away from Hall, he's being assertive on the mound, pounding the strike zone as Reynolds quickly in the hole, 0-2.
Hall 3-0 with a 1.05 ERA, 16 games appeared.
Off speed. Couldn't corral that one. 1-2 now to the first baseman.
17 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts to 8 walks. Has only given up 8 hits on the season. So this is a guy, as you said, AJ, he's going to pound the strike zone attack. But that could be a blessing in disguise for the Blues because they've attacked pitchers who have thrown strikes, a la Ketchy.
The 1-2 way inside, 2-2. And you mentioned, Chris, Reynolds. He has a 15-game on-base streak, and that is in jeopardy here. He is 0 for on the evening. The 2-2 off speed, just inside. You could see the behind home plate. Raposo was looking to throw that one around the horn. He thought that was strike 3, Chris.
That was a ball. The catcher, Raposo, had to move a little bit too much, setting outside. That pitch ended up in and high. Umpire didn't give it to him. I agree.
The 3-2 line into center field. It'll be down for a base hit. So Reynolds keeping his on-base streak alive with a base hit into center field and possibly sparking a rally here as Patrick Winkle steps to the plate. He has 3 hits on the day, looking for a 4th, and that would be huge to get a little something going here as the Blues are chasing 2 runs here in the bottom of the 7th.
8-game hit streak now for Reynolds, and perfect time with Patrick Winkle at the plate. 3 for 3 on the day.
Hall deals fastball outside, 1-0.
And Winkle has been peppering the right center line, or right field rather, and then left center for all 3 of his hits.
The 1-0 off speed. Winkle able to get a piece, fouls it off his, looks like his right ankle as the count evens 1-1. 6-4 your score here at Muzzy Field. The Blues coming off a 4-run rally in the bottom half of the 6th to put themselves back in this ball game after falling behind 6-0 as Hall checks on Reynolds. 6 runs on 11 hits, 2 errors for Martha's Vineyard. 4 runs, 11 hits, just 1 error for the Blues. The 1-1 off speed misses outside, and you can see a lot of loop in that curveball coming from Hall, Chris.
Hasn't been able to throw it for strikes yet, except for maybe that one potential pitch inside to Reynolds. But the other 2 have been way outside and uncompetitive. And as you said, spinning.
The 2-1 way inside, gets away from Raposo. So Reynolds is going to move to second. Takes a big turn, but he'll hold up. 3-1 now to Patrick Winkle, the all-star catcher. Headed to UConn next year. Already a monster game, 3 for 3. But a 4th hit would be huge. And with Reynolds' wheels, you would think, Chris, could cut this deficit to just 1.
And Winkle has the ability, as I stated, 3 for 3 on the day, has had a knack for, and even if he gets the ball in the air, Reynolds can tag and get the 3rd.
Pick off the second. The throw is in time. Spin move off the mound from Connor Hall. Reynolds leaning just a little bit, and that is a huge play, essentially killing what could have been a big rally for Bristol, trailing by 2. And now in the bottom of the 7th, just 7 outs to play with. A huge play. The 3-1 lifted foul. Chris, what do you think about that one? Just a tough pill to swallow there for Bristol.
No, it is. You can almost feel like it's taking the air out of the balloon, and typically in that sense, a catcher will either do something with the glove or he'll give a sign to the shortstop, and that's when the pitcher makes the throw.
Winkle lifts this one into right field, so it will drop for a base hit. Winkle's 4th hit of the day. But you have to think what could have been with Reynolds leading off second, picked off by Connor Hall for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring up Rich Brereton now. Winkle leading off first with 2 away.
It's a what if right there. The pitch selection maybe would have been different, but Winkle now 4 hits, and that could have been the 5th run for the Blues. Instead, 2 down.
Off speed from Hall in there, strike 1. Brereton 0 for 3 on the day. Did reach on a fielder's choice back in the 6th, and he ended up scoring the first run of that 4-run rally. Looking for another 2-out rally here. The 0-1 fastball misses outside, 1-1.
It's interesting that the first baseman, Winsig, is holding Winkle on at first. You would think just trying to get the out. Winkle with not a lot of speed.
The 1-1 off speed, cut at, fouled back. 1-2 now to Brereton, and a little bit of a hole here. Going to have to battle. Looking for his first hit of the evening.
Down 1-2, saw a breaking ball back door, rather front door, then saw another breaking ball that was a little bit higher. You would think, will he triple up on it?
The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. You called it, Chris. Another off-speed pitch. And Brereton down, his second strikeout of the afternoon. But a wasted opportunity there for Bristol. Had a man on second with just 1 out. And your 4 and 5 hitters coming up. But Dylan Reynolds was picked off. You got to give credit to Connor Hall making it happen out there on the bump. But we head to the 8th. The Blues trailing 6-4. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
Top of the 8, 6, 7, 8, Raposo, Hartman, Kolick, Vandam Gadan, Shapiro. Bristol Blues had an opportunity. Dylan Reynolds was on its second, but picked off by the Martha's Vineyard Sharks pitcher Connor Hall. But Patrick Winkle singled right after that, and you can go into the what-if game. But at the end of the day, what-ifs, it's in the past now. We're in the present. We're in the top of the 8th. And the Bristol Blues have 6 outs left to play with. But first they have to get through the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, with Adam Schwartz back on the mound for his second inning of work. First pitch to the catcher, who has 2 triples on the day. Sees a fastball inside, kind of nods his head to the right, questioning that call. The 0-1, slider low, 1-1.
Schwartz making his debut for the Blues, and first inning went as smooth as possible. 1-2-3.
1-1 to the catcher, fights it off as it goes foul up the third baseline. Schwartz going to UConn in the fall from Pennsylvania, and you could see why. Short, compact delivery, not tall in stature, but as you stated, AJ, has a good fastball. 1-2, fastball high, 2-2. And his slider, if you've noticed, it's a tight one. Not a lot of loop, and more so has that two-plane break going outside. There's the slider. Raposo had to foul it back.
And I like the way Schwartz works, and I was just doing some Googling as Schwartz was coming into this game because we have not seen him, and he's initially listed as an outfielder on one of his reports, so you can kind of tell the way he works.
2-2 was driven into right. Sullivan going back, still trying to find it.
Ooh.
And a questionable route by Sullivan, but he's able to make the catch nonetheless. But we've seen a couple balls hit to left where Sullivan, I don't know if he can find it.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken some interesting routes, and that was a bit of an adventure there, but what looked like a can of corn, Sullivan making that one look a little bit trickier. But as I was saying about Schwartz, he's listed as an outfielder, and you can see very athletic build. You can see him in that, an outfield position, but works quickly, gets the ball, gets right back on the rubber, and the way he delivers the ball, it's very athletic, sound mechanically.
There was a little more of a looping breaking ball, misses on the outside corner, 1-1. Hartman with 2 sac flies and 2 RBIs. But down in the count 1-2. Also singled in the 4th and was left stranded at third base. 1-2 to Hartman. Fouls it back. Mark Silvestri warming up in the bullpen, so you would think that maybe this might be the last inning for Schwartz, and then have Silvestri pitch in the 9th. 6 runs on 11 hits and 2 errors for the Sharks. 4 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error for the Blues. Another foul ball. We'll do it again, 2-2.
If you're Schwartz here, I think you go back to that tight slider. Back-to-back fastballs, fouled off from Hartman, so take something off it right here.
2-2. Fastball. And it looks to have been, I don't know if that was crossed up or just a misplay by Winkle, but he's catching his breath.
I think it was a deflection, and he's grabbing at his left leg. He's got those big shin guards, but I think that one might have gotten right up above that padding. Caught him right in the soft spot, and you can see smile on his face, so it doesn't look too serious, but definitely a little bit shaken up down there on the deflection off the bat of Hartman.
How many times do you see that? Even with a batter, he'll have all the protective gear, and then that foul ball finds a way to get either above or below where the guard is. Always.
Just that one spot, your Achilles heel, and Winkle now getting up looks like he'll be okay, but with all the protection you have out there, sometimes, and Winkle and his last at bat, actually, if you recall, he fouled one off of, I think it was that back left foot, that left ankle. So last couple innings, he's getting a little banged up there behind the dish.
But he seems to be okay, still behind home plate. 2-2 count. Hartman calls time, doesn't get it. Breaking ball, fouls it back. And that was a delayed reaction by Hartman. And he's questioning why he didn't get a time call, but he was calling it as Schwartz was delivering. That's too late.
Normally when you see that, you'll get exactly what you saw right there. Home plate umpire is not going to grant you time, and Hartman was not pleased.
Full count. High fastball on deck is Kolick in the hole, Shapiro. Righty versus lefty. Full count pitch. Slider, weak attempt by Hartman. That's going to go down via a K for Schwartz.
Yeah, Schwartz there pulling the string. Nice job, and we said it. Schwartz, lots of confidence in his fastball. Challenging. Hartman able to stay alive. But right there, Schwartz taking a little bit off, fooling Hartman for the second out.
And Kolick rips that ball into left field for a 2-out single. I think Schwartz surrenders a hard liner to left here in the top of the 8th.
I think Kolick was going to work there in the on-deck circle, realizing that Schwartz kept on going back to his fastball, so no reason to believe otherwise. First pitch fastball, Kolick was right all over it. an absolute smoke shot into left field for a 2-out base hit.
And Schwartz, he's got to be careful. He's not coming to a complete stop. And I'm surprised that the field umpire hasn't said anything. Throw back to first. Because when there's a runner on base, it's one thing if there's nobody on, you can quick pitch. But once there's a runner on base, you have to come to at least a stop before you deliver to home plate. He does there. Fastball outside, 2-0.
Yeah, very brief, very subtle, but good point there, Chris. If he's not careful, could lead to a balk and scoring position for Martha's Vineyard, and that's exactly what you don't want to have, especially with the top of the Sharks order lurking with Chamberlain on deck.
Shapiro, another left-handed batter. Get me over fastball, gets the call, 2-1. Shapiro 1 for 3 on the day with 1 strikeout. Came in with a .367 average. Weekly hit to the right side. Haig takes it on a bounce, tosses over to Osberg for the third and final out. And the Sharks train a runner on first. The 2-out single was wasted off the bat of Kolek, running to the bottom of the 8th. 6-4 is your lead. The Sharks are over the Blues. Chris Arns and A.J. Fabry on the call right here from historic Muzzy Field. New pitcher on the mound for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks is 6'4", 210, going to Vanderbilt in the fall. Chance Huff from Florida.
Huff with a minuscule .9 ERA, 2-0 record, making his 10th appearance for the Sharks. 1 save. So with 6 out here, you got to think, is Jay Mendez relying on Huff for possibly a 6-out save here, facing Teddy Haig from the Blues.
And Haig, first pitch swing, fouls it back. And again, we've said this countless times during this game, the approach for a lot of these Bristol Blues batters could bode well, seeing high velocity, being short to the ball. The 0-1 quickly behind 0-2 as Haig comes up empty.
Huff 2-0, 10 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts.
Little hesitation, foul back. And that's got to be tough, AJ, too, when you're facing a guy who can probably get up to, and I'm just throwing out a number here, somewhere in the high 90s, okay? And then he does that hesitation. It's got to mess you up as a hitter.
6'4", 210, very intimidating presence.
0-2 slider in the dirt. Raposo has to complete the process at first, and Haig goes down via a swinging strikeout.
Well, Huff, 6'4", 210. I mean, just a power guy. He's going to attack you, and that's his 13th strikeout of the season. 10 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts now, just 5 walks and 7 hits. So one of those power relievers out of the pen for the Sharks. Now just 5 outs to play for Bristol to get back into this ball game. 6-4, they trail.
And Huff throwing another first pitch strike to Peyton Stevens, who was 1 for 3 on the day with an RBI. and 1 run scored. 0-1 down the middle, 0-2, and Huff is throwing strikes.
Similar to Brian Ketchy, who got the start today, was dominant through the first 5. Wheels fell off in the 6th, but was pounding the strike zone and was attacking these Bristol hitters. That's exactly what Huff is doing, and you have to think that that's the philosophy in this Martha's Vineyard pitching rotation.
Huff with the high socks, 6'4" right-hander going to Vanderbilt in the fall. 1-2 on Peyton Stevens. Doesn't hesitate that time, but gets the same result as he did with Haig. 2nd consecutive strikeout for the tall righty.
And you can see Huff is a downhill pitcher, gets on top of the ball. He's pretty much saying to these Bristol hitters, hey, here's my best stuff. You try and hit it. And right now, the Blues just cannot get on top of that fastball.
And Sullivan will be at the plate with 2 down. Did have an RBI double back in the 6th inning and then came around to score. Winning the 4 runs on the day for the Bristol Blues. And Sullivan drives that into center field, and that's a 2-out single. An impressive last 2 at-bats for the Virginia freshman in the fall.
That's part of the process for Sullivan. I mean, we've seen him at the plate so far, and, quite frankly, he had looked a little bit overmatched. Coming from Connecticut, headed to Virginia next fall. So, but right now he's really coming into his own. Last 2 at-bats, a double and a single. Can see the potential for the outfielder.
First pitch fastball low, 1-0. And I think for Sullivan to see a guy like Huff, I think bodes well because you're going to see arms like Huff and others, especially when you go to the ACC, which is full. When you think of Clemson, go back to first. Louisville is always in contention for the regional, if not super regional.
Florida State always in the mix.
Florida State, if they're not throwing that one kid 180 pitches. I still can't believe that.
Andy Haig, 3 hits on the evening.
2-0. And Huff, who was throwing strikes to the first 2 batters, Sullivan gets the 2-out single up the middle, and then Haig ahead 2-0 with Osberg on deck. And if you're the Bristol Blues, you want to get back up to the top, who Osberg has struck out his last 2 at-bats. But this might be a guy who could fit more into Osberg's weaponry in terms of being a hitter. Huff comes to the set high. Stares down, takes a couple looks. The 2-0. 3-0 as Raposo tried to pull that ball back. Didn't get the call.
A little interesting here is Huff, first 2 batters, dominant strikeouts, no problem. But after the base hit and the base runner on for Bristol, now Huff having to make the transition to go into his stretch, has not been able to throw a strike, and a little bit of a lack of command here so far to the 9-hole hitter, Andy Haig.
Takes a breath as the righty. The 3-0. Inside. Haig kind of looked over for it a second to make sure that was a ball, and the umpire said it was. A 4-pitch walk. Sullivan to second, Haig to first. And the Blues have what they wanted. The leadoff batter at the plate.
4 fastballs, unable to locate for the big righty. So here we go again. Bristol presented with another opportunity. Again with 2 outs, 2 men on. Top of the order. Ian Osberg still, 1 for 3. 1 for 4 on the day, but coming off 2 straight strikeouts. So looking to right the ship a little bit, and a base hit cut this lead to 1 with only a few outs to play with here in the 8th.
Hathaway behind Sullivan at second. Fastball strike, 0-1. That's a good spot, outer half of the plate. Now Osberg has to respect it, and now he's going to creep a little bit closer to the plate. Second baseman Kolek on the grass. Osberg had a single first pitch back in the first, or at the bottom of the first. Slider chopper right to Hathaway, goes to the easiest base at second, and the Blues strand a runner on first and second. Ranked to the top of the 9th. 6-4 is your score. Sharks are up over the Bristol Blues. Top of the ninth. 1, 2, 3 for the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Chamberlain, Winsig, and Oldham. If any of them get on, Hathaway. And the Blues had an opportunity with runners on first and second. But a ground ball from Osberg ended any sort of opportunity for the Blues to at least tie the game or at least cut down the deficit 6-4.
New pitcher in now for Bristol, reliever Mark Silvestri, the righty out of Rhode Island, making his 16th appearance of the season, 1-2 with a 6.96 ERA. Gonna have to go against Matt Chamberlain and the top of this Martha's Vineyard lineup.
Martha's Vineyard trying to cut down their 2-game losing streak, lost both to the Brockton Rocks, 12-11 and 4-3. Foul tipped into the mitt and then went behind the home plate umpire, 0-2.
Silvestri, power pitcher, live arm, going to come right after you. As you see early on, challenging with the fastball, but Silvestri 1-2 on the season, 20.2 innings pitched, 28 strikeouts, and 16 walks.
Change up low, 1-2. And Silvestri does have the stuff to be able to get strikeouts, but at the same time, because of the funkiness of his mechanics, it's very hard to be able to repeat that, and that's what leads to a lot of his problems on the mound. 1-2 to Chamberlain. Fights it off, and just to stay alive.
Got to give a lot of credit to Andrew Schwartz coming in. Virtually unknown right now, making his FCBL debut, going 2 strong innings, only giving up 1 hit, no runs. So well done to the youngster headed to UConn next year.
In a day that started out sunny, it was actually beautiful out for most of the day, and then at about 3:30 when we found out about the home plate umpires being a tad late, that's when the wind started to pick up. And you made a point, AJ, that it sounds like, or not sounds like, but it feels like it might rain.
Through the 9th right now, so I think we're looking good weather-wise, but Silvestri completely losing control of that pitch. Looked like he was trying to get an off-speed curveball to just bend back down, but there was absolutely no bend in that one.
And Jay Gregula warming up in the pen for the Blues, so Ronnie Palmer having a short leash with his righty, Mark Silvestri. Off-speed, Chamberlain fights it off just to stay alive. And Chamberlain, as we've stated, does not strike out a lot, only 13 on the season, 26 walks. Sees a lot of pitches, but also, too, because of his approach at the plate, will foul off a lot and make pitchers work. Silvestri comes to the set. Off-speed pitch outside. And Silvestri was ahead in the count 1-2, and now with the great eye of Chamberlain and the poor execution of the righty, full count pitch coming here. Chamberlain from the crouch stance on the left side of the plate. On the hands, has a chance. Dying Quail, it's going to drop into center field. And nice at bat for Chamberlain. He's rewarded with a single here in the top of the 9th.
Fantastic at bat there from Chamberlain and his second hit of the day. 2 for 5 now, but getting behind in the count, and that's what he does. Fouls off pitches, makes you work, and once you get that pitch count high, you're more likely to break through, and that's exactly what Chamberlain did right there. Nothing special about that at bat. Able to flip one into center field.
Winsig 1 for 4 on the day, attempted the bump, pull back. If you're just tuning in, Patrick Winkle did pick off Chamberlain, who was able to reach back in the first inning, back when we only had the home plate umpire, and the field umpire was still making his way to Muzzy Field. Fastball high, 2-0.
Interesting there. So Martha's Vineyard possibly bunting, trying to get Chamberlain into scoring position, push across another insurance run to push this lead to 3, but Winsig not showing bunt there on the second pitch.
2-0 fastball, had a little bit of arm side run inside, 2-1. Reynolds holding on Chamberlain at first. It's 20 stolen bases on the season, has only been picked off 4 times attempting to steal, but was picked off in the first from Patrick Winkle. 2-1 count, Chamberlain's going. No throw to second as Winkle kind of lost the grip and didn't have it fully, and Chamberlain gets his 21st stolen base of the season.
you got to be a little bit smarter there on the mound if you're Silvestri, the league leader in stolen bases on first base. Silvestri not even really giving Chamberlain a look over there at first. Silvestri long to the plate. Got to go to a bit of a slide step there, and then off speed, tough pitch to throw out a base runner on. And you said it, Chris. Just looked like Winkle, who had to pick that one out of the dirt, couldn't get the grip, and Chamberlain in there without a throw.
3-1 coming. Skied in the air to center field. Leparco has it camped under. Chamberlain tagging. Leparco's going to throw it to third. Chamberlain, the play. He's going to be out, and what a throw from the center fielder. Typically an infielder plays shortstop and third, made a strong throw in center field and got the speedy Chamberlain for the second out. And Silvestri, I think he owes him a Gatorade after that.
Fantastic play there from Leparco, and kind of surprised a little bit. You said it, normally an infielder, and you could see that throw, not much of a crow hop. Leparco just throwing it as though he was throwing it across the diamond at third base, but an absolute shot there from Leparco, able to shoot out Matt Chamberlain. And I thought that was a good move. Leparco not normally used to coming around the ball and making a play from the outfield position. So I thought that was a good move there from Chamberlain, trying to swipe it back, but Leparco says no way. And that's a huge momentum shifter here in this game.
0-1 slicing foul. Bridgerton gives chase, goes into the fence, and he's down.
Jeez, that was a scary fall there, but Brereton gets right back up. And Chris, there was no slowing down. Brereton was going full speed after that one, and you got to give some flack to your bullpen down there, down the line. Got to help your guy out right there, because Brereton, trying to make that play, went full speed, and that was a dangerous collision, but thankfully Brereton able to get up under his own power.
Silvestri comes to the belt, 0-2 on Matt Olin, the DH. Outside changeup, 1-2. And to put a ribbon on the throw from Leparco, I think what helped, too, is the fact that he wasn't catching it on his heel. He was already making the movements towards at least straight forward, and I think that's what helped his throw. 1-2 to Oldham. Shot putted that ball 54 feet in front of home plate. 2-2 with 2 outs. 6-4-year lead. Sharks over the Bristol Blues. Chris Arns and A.J. Fabry on the call. Two driven into center field. Leparco coming in. Diving play.
Oh, my gosh.
And he can do it all. He can dive. He can gun people out. This kid is an athlete. Let me tell you, Alex Leparco from Western New England.
What a baller. Normally an infielder, but you got to give credit. Ronnie Palmer sticking him out there in center field, and 2 huge defensive plays to keep this deficit at just 2 and giving his team a chance to possibly make a comeback here in the bottom of the 9th.
Bottom of the 9th, last licks for the Bristol Blues. And the man who was making all the plays and did it himself in the top of the 9th typically is usually up. And right here, Alex Leparco is. 2-3-4, Reynolds, then Winkle. If any of them get on, Brereton. And Sharks are up 6-4. 13 hits apiece for both teams, 2 errors for the Sharks and 1 for the Blues. On the mound for his second inning of work is the hard right-hander, the 6'4", going to Vanderbilt in the fall, Chance Huff. First pitch ball high to Leparco, 1-0. Fastball in, call the ball, 2-0. On AJ, I think it's quite perplexing that before every pitch the crowd is just quiet.
Well, I think they're locked in right now, and I was going to comment. I think there's, a good energy in this crowd right now, and they're just waiting to blow up after those defensive plays from Leparco. As you hear after that ball 3, I mean, they're alive, they're ready to go. But after those defensive plays from Leparco, a huge roar, and I think this is a huge at-bat here for Leparco because we saw Huff was dominant in his first 2 at-bats of the 8th inning, but once he got a couple guys on, he seemed a little bit shaky out there. So if Leparco can get on, that would be huge to start off this inning, get Huff in the stretch, and maybe make some things happen here. But 3-1 count, Leparco in the driver's seat.
Leparco trying to continue his 4-game win streak. Fastball in, called a strike, full count. Leparco has yet to take the bat off his shoulder. Chance Huff sets, fires a fastball chopper up the third baseline, but just goes foul. Huff gets the sign he wants. The 3-2 delivery on the hands, has a chance to stay in the infield. And Cole calls off his shortstop Hathaway for the first out.
Got to give credit to Huff there after falling behind 3-0. Did not give in. Couple paint jobs on the inside corner to get back into the at-bat, 3-2. And then after a foul ball, able to jam Leparco into a lazy pop-up. Well done there from Huff.
First pitch to Reynolds. Chopper in front of home plate. Raposo has 1 play. He makes the strong throw over the first, and quickly 2 down. And the Sharks are 1 out away from improving to 28-13 on the season.
Yeah, that looked like almost an excuse-me swing there from Reynolds. Didn't really put his full body into that one. And a smart play there from Raposo to get on that ball. And it looked like it could have rolled foul and given Reynolds another life there, but assertive, decisive out there on the right in front of the home plate, able to pick that one up and fire out Reynolds for the second out of the inning.
And the Bristol Blues do have the right man at the plate for a chance to continue this rally. Winkle is yet to be retired. Hesitation from Huff. Throws that fastball. Overpowers Winkle. 0-2. Well, the Bristol Blues do have a game tomorrow at 6 o'clock against the Nashua Silver Knights. (0-2) coming to Winkle. Drops in the breaking ball. Backdoors him. Call the ball. 1-2.
Well, there's some nasty off speed there from Huff. Great
Straight
job
over the top.
Yeah, great job from Winkle to lay off because that one had some late action on it in the dirt. But if that thing's over the plate, I don't really know how you can catch up to that because that one's coming in. Not a whole lot of drop-off in velocity in terms of Huff's fastball and that off speed. It looked like it was a bit of a slider there trying to catch Winkle backdoor.
And especially, too, because Huff is already 6'4", and when he stretches out, he's already closer to the plate by 5 inches. So that ball is really coming after you. It's almost like he's touching you. 1-2 to Winkle. High fastball, 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. On deck is Brereton. In the hole, Teddy Haig, who's had the flair for the dramatics. So if they can get to him, it'll be interesting. 2-2 to the 5.5 hole. Rapper makes a play, backhand. Ooh. Machado throw across the diamond. And the third and final out is recorded as Huff gives the fist pump, gets the save. And the Martha's Vineyard Sharks improve to 28-13 on the season. The Bristol Blues, they drop to 24-18.
Tough break for Bristol. And really, when you look up at that scoreboard, just that one inning where they broke out for some runs and if you're going to want to beat this Martha's Vineyard team, you really need to score consistently, and they just did not do that tonight. They had some opportunities, and 2 nights ago they came up with all the big 2-out hits they needed, and only 1 inning of that tonight. So a tough break for Bristol, but I mean, if you're a fan and you came to tonight's game, I mean, you got a little bit of everything. Got your money's worth. You had an Army Blackhawk helicopter flyover, an hour-long delay, and a great baseball game. I mean, look up at the scoreboard: 6 runs on 13 hits, and then for the Blues, 4 runs on 13 hits as well. So an exciting ball game. Unfortunately for the Blues, they were on the wrong end of it. But another chance at it tomorrow as they look to bounce back with a 6 p.m. game against the Nashua Silver Knights.
AJ, another fine job tonight, buddy.
You too, Chris. And shout out to Huck Gallagher and Jack O'Donnell, our producer, director, and cameraman. The guys behind the scenes always making us look good, sound good. So special thanks to them. Chris, nice job. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6.
So for everyone who tuned in, thank you again. And, hey, before I forget, for the first responders, for the military men, for everyone else who served this country now and in the past, thank you again for all you've done. And for the people that brought in the very big helicopter, that thing was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie to you. But final score, 6-4, Martha's Vineyard over the Bristol Blues. We'll catch you tomorrow against the Nashua Silver Knights. So for Chris Saunders, for AJ Fabry, for Huck, and for Jack, so long here from historic Muzzy Field. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.